YouTube, we're back. I am Nick. As always, I think you are you. And we're back to watch some creepy videos. I don't know what we have on the agenda today, but what I do have is a question. How are you guys feeling about this floating head look? Because all I pretty much own are black shirts, and with this background, it's all black. It looks like I'm just a floating head. At first, it kind of bothered me, and now I kind of like it. Just curious what you think. Let's get into it.
This has been hidden for centuries. The Eiffel Tower's real purpose is extremely different to what you've been told. Most people believe it is just a symbol of Parisian culture and the industrial age, but there is far more. Its secrets could have revolutionized the world. The Eiffel Tower was completed in 1889 for the World's Fair. It was designed as a temporary exhibit showcasing modern engineering. But here is where it gets interesting. There is overwhelming evidence that the tower was actually built as a giant antenna for wireless electricity experiments. Nikola Tesla visited Paris in the 1880s, and during his visit he met with Gustave Eiffel and shared his vision of a world powered by free wireless energy. Tesla proved that with his Wardenclyffe Tower invention that could wirelessly transmit electricity across the globe. Eiffel was fascinated by Tesla's ideas and incorporated these principles into the design of the tower. The lattice structure is not just an aesthetic choice, but it gets even stranger. During the construction of the Eiffel Tower, there were reports of strange electromagnetic phenomena and unexplained lights around the tower. Local newspapers often mention mysterious experiments conducted late at night. Some even claim to have seen sparks and glowing orbs.
Hey, you know what? Nikola Tesla was onto something, and it's been proven that he was onto something now. But back then, these electric companies weren't having any of that stuff because clearly it would cut into their profits. I would not be surprised if Nikola Tesla and this Eiffel guy decided to build something that would benefit people with free electricity and free power. So it's a fascinating theory. I don't think I've ever heard of this one, but I can 100% seeing this be a true theory simply because Nikola Tesla wanted to give the world free energy. And if you look at what's the term I'm looking for? If you look at nature, I guess, for lack of a better term, free energy is all around us and we can harness it, but we're not allowed to, and it's illegal because these electric companies want to make some money, and it's messed up. And the earth has everything we need to survive, everything we need to flourish, and capitalism sucks.
Did you know that? The Titanic never sank. You wouldn't believe me, would you? But listen to this. The owner of the ship, J.P. Morgan, actually had two ships. He had the Titanic and he had the Olympic. And the Olympic was a bit older and a bit more run down and had also had some accidents. The theory goes that J.P. Morgan deliberately sank the ship because he knew he would get a lot of money. He did it for the insurance money. But why sink the newly built Titanic when you could scrape off the paint, switch the names, and sink the Olympic? Instead, he just painted the word Titanic over the Olympic, and it gets worse. Guess who was on that ship? All of J.P. Morgan's business competitors, and not one of them made it out. Oh my god. But guess who wasn't on the boat? J.P. Morgan. He cancelled minutes before departure because he knew it would sink. There was a man named James Fenton who survived and worked on the ship, and on his deathbed his last words were the Titanic never sank, it was the Olympic. And he said if he said anything, something bad would happen to him.
I 100% believe that. I would not be surprised. Insurance fraud has been going on for hundreds of years, and when someone can benefit by making a ton of money, they do not care how many people and how many lives they sacrifice. It's happened plenty of times around the world, recently in this country in the last 25 years, if you know what I mean. Yeah, so I can see this being a case of this really happened simply because people are greedy, and it's a fascinating cover up. I think I dove myself into this, and if I can recall correctly, I dove in for a short period of time where I was really, really into it. And if I can remember and recall correctly, the Titanic has, I want to say, 4 of those steam stacks on top, and the Olympic had 3, or vice versa. One of them had 3, one of them had 4. And the pictures of the one in the ocean has the amount the Olympic had. So I'm not saying it's true, but I think it could be. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think the Titanic really sank, or was it bullshit?
You know those Walmart brands like Great Value and then the regular brands, right? Here's a theory that might shock you. So they have Cool Whip, then just the normal whipped cream. I bet you didn't know it's all made by the same company. Great Value gets it made cheaper without the branding. The same goes for canned vegetables. The big name brand is Green Giant, and the Great Value ones are also made by Green Giant. It's the same with cereal. There's this store called Aldi, known for having the best products that match up to the big name brands. Aldi has a brand called Millville, and their cereals are replicas of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Cookie Crisps, and Rice Krispies. They look so similar because Millville is the same thing as General Mills. It's the exact same cereal. They even taste the same. So you're basically getting the same stuff for less money. That is insane.
Listen, yes, these companies do make the same products, but get the fuck out of here that it tastes the same. There's a reason why no one buys the knockoffs, and there's a reason why kids don't like the knockoffs, is because it doesn't taste the same. Fruity Pebbles and Dino Fruit don't taste the same. Cocoa Pebbles and Cocoa Rocks don't taste the same. You know, I don't want to hear any of that crap, but this is true.
So scientists now think humans are actually the aliens. There's a theory that Mars is the place where human life originally started. This is because the rover on Mars has been picking up a lot of an element called xenon all over the surface. What's scary about this is that xenon is the same element that started being discovered around Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as nuclear bomb testing sites. And this element has never been found anywhere where there hasn't been a nuclear explosion. This has led many to believe that humans had a nuclear war on Mars that absolutely decimated the planet and made it uninhabitable for humans, and only a select few of the powerful families made their way to Earth. To do this, the Mars civilization would have had to be extremely advanced, which might explain why we see such unexplainable architecture from our past, like the pyramids. Maybe these people tried to hide these advancements with the hopes we would never get to a point of nuclear war again. But human nature and greed brought us right back to the point of destruction once again.
I have heard this theory before, and this is probably just, you know, to make it a little bit more entertaining, but the ships that took people from Mars to Earth were called Adam and Eve, and that's why they were the first people on Earth. Those ships were the first ones on Earth. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. We'll never know. But that's an absolutely fascinating theory that Earth are basically full of inhabitants from Mars, and humans destroyed Mars, and who knows how true this is. I don't care. I like one way or the other. Like, we're just trying to make it out here, man.
What if I told you that before you were born, you made an agreement called the soul contract? This contract outlines your life's journey, challenges, and relationships. These soul contracts are stored within the Akashic Records, the cosmic library that contains everything that has happened in the past, is happening in the present, or will happen in the future. Imagine an entire blueprint of your life, crafted with the wisdom of your higher dimensional self. This blueprint details all the lessons you need to learn, the people you will meet, and the experiences you must undergo to fulfill your soul's purpose. It's a roadmap designed for your spiritual evolution, guiding you towards growth and enlightenment. But there's even more. These contracts often include karmic relationships, souls you've encountered in past lives with unfinished business to resolve. The challenges you face are not random, they're deliberate choices to foster growth, resilience, and wisdom. Accessing the Akashic Records can reveal these soul contracts, providing insight into life's purpose. Through specific meditation and spiritual practices, this repository can be accessed. What do you think your soul contract would say?
I don't know. This one, you know, like if you're making a contract, why do people make their life so difficult then? Simple as that. If you're making a contract, you want it to be as lucrative and as pleasant as possible. You don't want to go through any struggles. I don't believe this one at all.
So did you know about the birthmark theory? Almost everybody has some kind of birthmark, whether small or big. Some people have no birthmarks at all. The absence of a birthmark can actually mean a few things. According to the birthmark theory, a birthmark indicates how and where a person was killed in the past life. It specifically pinpoints where a person was burned, shot, or speared in their past life. That's why birthmarks can come in weird shapes and sizes, and no birthmarks look the same. If a person has no birthmarks at all, this means it's highly likely that it's that person's first incarnation and they haven't died in a past life yet. Now this one is very unlikely, but another possibility is that a person with no birthmarks passed away in their last life due to natural causes and experienced a peaceful death. This last meaning is the most profound one. If there are no birthmarks present, the person is spiritually evolved enough so they no longer carry the trauma they suffered in their past lives and are considered free.
That's really interesting. I have a birthmark on my ankle that looks like a cloud. It's probably this big and it wraps around the top of my ankle. I don't know how the hell that could have killed me in my past life, but according to this theory, that's probably how. Do you guys have any birthmarks? Do you have any interesting birthmarks or interesting stories? Maybe you recall something from your past life, because there are some cases of that. I don't know. If you do, leave it in the comments.
So did you know the makeup is ruining our skin? It's a conspiracy that keeps women hooked for life. Ever notice how women who start wearing makeup never seem to stop? The theory goes that cosmetics are deliberately engineered to damage your skin over time, ensuring you stay dependent on them. You might start with a few minor issues, just a pimple or a bit of uneven tone, so you reach for a little concealer, a bit of foundation, just to smooth things out. Before you know it, you're applying layer after layer to cover up new problems created by the makeup itself. This clogs your pores and irritates your skin, leading to even more breakouts, dryness, and other issues. And so you keep using more products to cover up the damage. It's a vicious, never-ending cycle, trapping you in a lifetime of makeup dependency.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, because sunscreen has been proven to cause cancer. And the reason why it was pushed, on people for so many years is because if you get cancer, then you have to get on some sort of medication and do some sort of treatment. And that means pharmaceutical companies are going to be making money. And it's not a coincidence that the rate of skin cancer has gone up exponentially since the invention of sunscreen. So I wouldn't be surprised if cosmetics damage your skin, which leads you to want to get Botox, which leads you to want to get some sort of a cream or serum where pharmaceutical companies are making money. I'm just saying.
Do you know Samsung is faking their camera? You know how Samsung always brags about their phones being better than iPhones, especially when it comes to camera quality. They often claim their cameras are the best, saying you can point your phone at the moon and capture images that surpass those taken with a telescope. I watched a video by Shane Dawson where a guy zooms into the moon with a Samsung phone, and the image looks incredibly sharp. It seems almost too good to be true, right? Well, it turns out it kind of is. Samsung recently admitted that they enhance moon photos on their phones using AI. A guy even made a video demonstrating how this works. He took a plain white circle and placed it across his house, then zoomed in with his Samsung phone. The camera, thinking it was the moon, swapped the white circle for an image of the moon. So it started as just a white circle and then transformed into a detailed image of the moon. Isn't that wild? It makes you wonder what other tech might be tricking us with AI.
If that's true, that is crazy. I've never heard this one. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's true, because there is money to be made. But hey, you know what? As long as I have some clear photos of the moon, I think we're all happy. And I am Team Android all the way. Are you iPhone or Android? Galaxy? iPhone? Let me know in the comments.
Know that every single president in US history is related to one king. This means the presidents weren't just voted in by the people that were selected based on royal bloodlines. About 15 years ago, a 12-year-old girl working on a 7th grade project made an astonishing discovery with the help of her grandparents. She traced the lineage of each US president and found that they all connected back to one man, all except for one at the time. Who was the exception? It wasn't Roosevelt, it was Martin Van Buren, the 8th president. So who is this common ancestor? All their lineages traced back to King John of England, a member of the House of Plantagenet. Isn't that fascinating?
That is fascinating. But, with the Christian faith, we all come from Adam and Eve. We're all from the earth. We're all images of God, right? So eventually, if you go back far enough, you're going to be related to somebody somehow, technically. So, I mean, in that instance, it doesn't seem so crazy, but if it's true, which it is, apparently, that's wild. All those presidents related to each other. Doesn't surprise me, though.
Did you know that Fortnite was created by real-life tragedy in 1951? Billionaire John McDonnell orchestrated an annual event where he would drop 100 participants on his private island to fight for their lives. The last person standing would win a staggering $1 million prize. He had cameras set up all around the island, so he can watch purely for his own entertainment on May 5th, 1954. During 4th annual Battle Royale match, 24 participants made a deal to search for John's house from where he was watching the game in a secret bunker when they finally found it. John McDonnell was hiding in bunker caught off guard. They made him pay for everything hours later. They called for help from his house, and John was never found until this day. They swore to never tell anyone what happened to John McDonnell.
At first, I was like, oh, this could be true. It's a possibility because rich people are known to have some sort of sadistic side to them, control, power, all that. But then what kind of made me go like, I don't know, is this was 1954, and to have a live feed camera all over the island, I don't know if the technology was there. Maybe not to us, the normies, but maybe to the billionaires. Who knows? And maybe I can be completely wrong and misdated. But either way, I would not be surprised if this happened.
This is incredible. Have you ever experienced deja vu? What if you had actually already lived that moment? The theory put forward suggests that our consciousness has already lived different lives before, and when we die, the bright light we see at the end of the tunnel is actually rebirth into the world. As a baby, it is said that between the ages of 1 and 3, memories are being erased from your previous life. That's why we don't remember anything at that age, and sometimes not all memories are erased properly, so the deja vu you experience would therefore be truly real.
You know what? Deja vu is a wild thing. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if there's a way to properly explain it. But there have been instances where I personally have experienced crazy deja vu. There's been times where I've dreamt of places I had never been. So I don't know what it looks like. But one day I go there and I'm just like, holy shit, I've been here before. You know, this building looks exactly how it did in my dream. And it's wild how that happens. So who knows? Maybe deja vu is a thing, or maybe it's just coincidence. I don't know. But people do get some weird sensations and feelings with this. Let me know. Have you experienced deja vu?
They are poisoning you. So you know those drumstick ice cream cones? So people are finding that the ice cream is not real ice cream. And to prove this, they buy these ice cream cones and then they leave it outside of the freezer for like 24 hours. And after 24 hours, they try to see if it melts or not. Like, look at this video. They left it out for 24 hours and it's not melted. It looks like mashed potatoes, but it's not like liquid ice cream melted. So they left it out in room temperature for 24 hours and shockingly it didn't melt, and that's what we're eating. So if you look at the box drumsticks, like the packaging, right, nowhere on the packaging does it say that it's ice cream, because legally by the USDA they cannot say it's ice cream unless in the product they have like 10% milk fat. Drumsticks do not have that, so legally they cannot say it's ice cream, right? And look at the box. On the box it's so small where they put it, it only says 4 frozen dairy dessert cones, and they only put it super small at the bottom of the box. So since it says frozen dessert cones, that usually means it's made with like oils. There's like some milk fat, right? But there's not enough to call it ice cream, and that's why drumsticks don't melt.
Oh, that sucks. That's wild. And you know what? Again, I'm not surprised. Anything to make it as cost effective as possible for these conglomerations and make as much money as possible. Who cares what it does to your health? Oh, you're going to get sick eating it? Whoopsies. We have stakes in pharmaceutical companies. Guess you have to get on medicine. Well, let me know. Do you think their ice cream is real or not?
You know those popular gummy bears or gummy worms you find at every grocery store? The ones your kids can't get enough of? Well, they're not exactly what they seem. People have tried leaving these gummy candies out in the open for weeks. And guess what? They don't change, they don't melt, get sticky, or even attract bugs. Check out this video. They left some gummy bears out for a whole month, and they look just like they did on day 1. Weird, right? You'd think something sugary would at least attract ants or start to break down. Now, let's talk about the ingredients. If you look at the label, you'll see all sorts of things you can't pronounce. Corn syrup, gelatin, artificial colors and flavors, preservatives, the list goes on. These aren't the ingredients you find in a natural snack. And here's the surprising part: even though they're called gummy candies, they're more like little chemical concoctions. Legally, they can be sold as candy because they meet the basic requirements, but compared to something homemade, they're in a whole different league. So the next time you think about grabbing a pack of these gummies, just remember they're more of a chemistry experiment than a snack, and that's what we're giving our kids. Before you freak out, it's worth mentioning that this sounds like one of those crazy conspiracy theories. There's no real evidence backing it up, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that one, unlike the ice cream one where it's deliberately misleading you, this one I think people know what they're getting into. And gummy bears aren't really supposed to melt like ice cream or anything like that, where they just liquefy completely. I've had gummy bears. I'm sure you have had gummy bears too. And if you had like warm gummy bears, they are sticky and they are a little bit melted a little bit. But yeah, this one, I don't think so, homie.
So have You ever wondered what your choice of smartphone says about your personality? This might surprise you. A study published by the New York Times revealed some fascinating insights into the differences between iPhone and Android users. According to their research, people who use iPhones are generally more extroverted, while those who use Android phones tend to be more introverted. But that's just the beginning. The study also uncovered that Android users are often more honest and nicer, whereas iPhone users, while more likely to lie, are also more adventurous and curious. Imagine that. Your phone preference might be a window into your honesty and your adventurous spirit, but it doesn't stop there. The research showed that iPhone users spend twice as much money in their daily lives compared to Android users. They are also on their phones a lot more. iPhone users send twice as many texts per day and take twice as many pictures as Android users. This means that if you have an iPhone, you're not only more likely to be social and adventurous, but you're also likely spending more in documenting your life more than your Android using friends. Additionally, iPhone users are more impulsive in their spending and in-app exploration, while Android users are more budget conscious and practical, sticking to reliable apps. So what do you think? Do these findings ring true for you, whether you're an iPhone user or an Android user?
That's interesting that they say that, because I can kind of speak from experience. I have a Galaxy, and the traits that they said Android users have, I have. Introverted, try to be responsible, things like that. But I do think the difference here is with Apple users, iPhone users, not everyone, and I don't want to generalize, but, there's certain people that tend to be more egotistical and have some sort of pride that comes with, having an iPhone. People get the ick if they text you and it's green instead of blue or whatever, So I think that is based off propaganda and the status people have when they have an iPhone going back to 2005 or whatever. When it came out, iPhones were considered elite phones, and at the time they were, because there weren't any real competition. So that carries over to today. So I do think there is something there with that, but let me know what you think. And again, I'm curious, are you Android or are you iPhone?
Proved the Mandela effect as a government experiment, right? So one of the most popular Mandela effects is the Fruit of the Loom Mandela effect, where everybody remembers there being a cornucopia on the logo of Fruit of the Loom clothing, but apparently there's not. And this lady was super convinced that there used to be a cornucopia on the logo, but Fruit of the Loom came out and said that they'd never had a cornucopia, like basically just calling this lady crazy, right? And Fruit of the Loom even has a post of all the past logos they had all the way back to like 1893. And basically they're trying to prove that they've never had a cornucopia on their logo. But then someone came out and they actually have photo proof of this. They found a piece of clothing in the closet with a cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom logo. And then after this, people did more digging and they actually found newspaper articles talking about Fruit of the Loom and how there's a cornucopia around it. Then they literally found government documents of the Fruit of the Loom company mentioning a cornucopia, showing that the cornucopia has been a part of the company. So they can't say it's never existed, right? And since this lady has been able to prove this Mandela effect wrong, people now think that the government has been using the Mandela effect to try to see how much history they could erase without the population knowing.
Yep, I 100% believe that. Trying to control propaganda again. But yeah, I'm going to keep this one short. There was a cornucopia.
They are deceiving you. So did you know that the Starbucks They are deceiving you. So did you know that the Starbucks logo is not just an ordinary logo? It's a siren. At first glance, it looks like a mermaid, a lady with a crown and a tail. But have you ever wondered why Starbucks chose a siren as their emblem? In ancient Greek mythology, sirens were mystical creatures known for their enchanting voices. They would lure sailors towards them, mesmerizing them with their singing, only to lead them to their doom, and they would steal their souls. Now, isn't it intriguing that Starbucks, a global coffee giant, uses this very symbol to attract customers? The siren's image is employed to draw you in, just like the sailors were drawn in by their songs. It gets even crazy. Fast food chains have catchy tunes that stick in your mind, urging you to remember their brand. McDonald's has I'm Lovin' It, Burger King has Have It Your Way, and Subway has Eat Fresh, but have you ever heard a Starbucks jingle? And here, the theory takes a dark twist. Starbucks doesn't need a jingle, because the siren symbol is so powerful, drawing people in without them even realizing it, just like it did to sailors long ago. The logo's magic makes customers come back every day, lining up for their coffee. It's like people are hypnotized, their very souls hooked on their Starbucks fix. The next time you sip your latte, remember the siren and its ancient powers. Fascinating marketing strategy.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. It is an interesting theory, but the logo doesn't summon you to the store. People like the coffee, and it's a status thing. You know, if you like spending $13 on a chai vanilla latte because you have a little Starbucks cup and you can post it on social media, do your thing. Has nothing to do with the logo. But it is fascinating.
So do you know Evian water is rich people water?
Really, is it?
Yeah, you heard that right. This may not be true, but there is a theory that say wealthy people are trying to monopolize the Evian water, which is really expensive, almost as expensive as Fuji water and all the other expensive water brands because it's exceptionally beneficial. It's packed with natural electrolytes. It's literally sourced from mountain springs, right? It's also naturally alkaline. Now, this is considered the healthiest water. When they tested other waters like spring water and various other brands, right, they discovered that those aren't necessarily as beneficial. But Evian water is one of the few that truly is good for you.
Okay.
Yeah, now the theory goes that rich people made it that expensive so that they have their water supply. And when they go to the store, they know that all these poor people aren't going to buy it. But, let's just keep it this high so that we can buy it whenever we're in town, right? Now, what do you think Evian spells backwards? Naive, which is intriguing, right? It might have been intentional.
What? That's crazy. That's funny. Coincidental. But I think Evian water sucks ass. I don't like the way it tastes. My favorite's Aquafina. I used to like Dasani when I was younger, but I didn't realize as I got older that there's a lot of salt in these, and it's done by design to make you want some more and you buy more. Again, it all ties into money, monopoly. Let me know what your favorite water is. Mine is definitely not Evian. Evian?
You know that Pringles, which you and your kids love to eat, are legally not allowed to call themselves chips.
What are they then?
So Pringles in 1975 lost the lawsuit where they were no longer able to call Pringles chips because apparently they're made with a bunch of unnatural ingredients. And apparently for any snack that wants to be categorized as a chip, they have to be made with real potatoes and they have to be sliced into small pieces and either baked or fried, and that's considered a chip. But Pringles does not do that. They have a paste that they make that's potato flavored and they cut a piece out of that. And that's what's considered the Pringles chip, right?
Oh, okay.
Honestly, Joe, I don't even want to know, but all I know is that when you look at a Pringles snack, it says Pringles crisp because they can't call it chips, so they have to call it a crisp.
Interesting. And again, ties into trying to make things as cheap as possible. But I haven't had Pringles and I can't even tell you, probably close to 20 years. And when I was a kid, my absolute favorite flavor, I don't think it would be now, but when I was a kid, my favorite flavor was their pizza one. Which one was yours? Let me know in the comments.
Kraft singles cheese, right? Like the little cheese squares wrapped in plastic.
Yeah, it's like the best.
Do you know why on the packaging they call it Kraft singles and not Kraft cheese?
No, I don't.
So legally they can't actually call it Kraft cheese. And it's actually a really scary reason why they can't. So in order for the FDA to label a product as cheese, the product actually has to have like 50% real cheese inside of the product. So that means when you're eating Kraft singles, however you eat it, grilled cheese, mac and cheese, whenever you use Kraft singles, right, you're eating a product that's less than 50% real authentic cheese. So in reality, it could be like 3% cheese because we really don't know. We really don't know how much cheese is actually in it. Just look at this video. It's scary how it doesn't melt at all.
That's crazy. And I just realized I think I have some shredded Kraft cheddar cheese in my refrigerator. And after this, I'm going to go check to see if that one is actual cheese or just cheese product, or if it's just the singles. I don't know. I'm going to go check right now, actually. It's actually cheese.
Do you know why Ronald McDonald is not the mascot of McDonald's anymore?
No, I don't.
The statue left 2 people lifeless. Back in 2010, in the McDonald's of Cuernavaca, Mexico, there was a statue of Ronald McDonald sitting on a bench. The statue was used by people to take pictures and everything seemed normal. Until one night, 2 workers of a gas station located in front of the McDonald's approached the statue. One went to the bathroom, and the other sat on the bench with Ronald to rest a moment and said, "I'm tired." To which Ronald replied, me too. The man, incredulous at what he had seen and heard, got up from the bench, very scared, which caused a heart attack. The other man came out of the bathroom when he heard Ronald being very terrified by what he had seen. This man told what happened to the people, and days later was lifeless, falling into a coma. The company was in charge of erasing the security videos from the gas station cameras, and the statue was removed from most of the McDonald's.
All right. Did it happen at a McDonald's or did it happen at a gas station? Make up your mind. Stuff like this, urban legends, obviously, but if it was true, damn, that is wild. But it's probably not.
Japan is the only country that got rich without getting fat.
No, I don't.
4.5% of Japanese people are obese compared to 26% in Britain and 42.5% in the United States. So the first thing you think when you hear that is, it must just be genetic, right? They won the genetic lottery, that must be what's going on. But we know that's not true, so there's something else going on. And it was totally fascinating. So when I arrived there, from the age of 5, all Japanese children just leave the house and walk to school on their own. So they get a lot of exercise in the morning and they walk home on their own as well. All processed food is banned. No one is allowed to have processed food. Every meal has to be prepared from scratch at the start of the day, and no one is allowed to bring in a packed lunch. And I remember with these kids, I was asking them their favorite foods. The first kid I asked said, my favorite food is broccoli. It's like, right. The second kid said, my favorite food is seaweed. And the third one's like, I like white rice. And I said to Chi, my translator, are these kids trolling me, right? Like what their favorite foods are broccoli and like white rice. And she just looked kind of puzzled, and every Japanese person I asked said, well, we teach our children to like healthy food. Don't your children like healthy food?
I believe that, because in America, the number one priority is to make food as cheap as possible and put all these ingredients in it to intentionally get you sick and addicted to it. And that's why people eat so much of it, because it tastes so damn good. And in other countries, like in Japan, where processed food is nowhere near as processed as it is here, it's more natural, organic. And organic isn't even a category in like France or Japan, because that's just how the food is. And here you have to pay extra for organic. And it's just wild how that's just, people are okay with that. But I for sure believe there's something to this. And the fact that walking is so relevant and I guess popular, if you want to call it popular, preferred mode of transportation in Japan. Yeah, of course, people are going to be a lot thinner. And there's something to that. So it just really makes you realize how messed up some places are.
KFC's chicken isn't as real as you might think.
No, I don't.
So people are discovering that KFC's fried chicken doesn't behave like natural food. To prove this, they buy a piece of chicken and leave it out at room temperature for 24 hours. After 24 hours, they check to see if it decomposes or changes. Look at this video. They left it out for 24 hours and it looks almost the same. No rotting, no signs of spoilage, nothing like what you'd expect from real food. And this is what we're eating. If you look at the packaging and ingredients list for KFC's chicken, you won't see a lot of transparency about what's really in it. The preservatives and additives used in this chicken are designed to extend shelf life, but they also prevent it from decomposing like natural food. Take a close look at the ingredient list on the packaging. It includes a lot of chemicals and preservatives with long, complicated names. These additives keep the chicken from spoiling, but they also mean that what you're eating isn't just simple fried chicken. The breading and meat are loaded with substances that inhibit mold and bacteria growth, making them almost indestructible by natural processes. So the next time you or your kids crave KFC, think about what you're really consuming.
Damn, it's crazy that I'm seeing this, because for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been really, really craving KFC. And I haven't had it in, I can't even tell you, 15 years? But I've been really craving it. And here I am preaching, oh, food gets you sick, it does this, it does that, oh, it's so processed. But don't get me wrong, it is fucking delicious. It's fucking delicious, and I want some KFC right now.
A theory that said that showering is actually bad for you.
No, I don't.
Even celebrities like Brad Pitt, Mila Kunis, Shia LaBeouf, and Johnny Depp, they don't shower every day because they feel it's actually bad for their skin. So, everybody showers. Like research has shown that everyone showers at least once a day, and sometimes even twice a day. But what if I told you that showering is actually bad for you? According to dermatologist Dr. Zeichner, found that showering with hot water actually removes a lot of good bacteria on your body, and the good bacteria actually help prevent disease and infection. And it's also found that hot water will dry out our bodies, and it creates little cracks in our skin that leads to infection in our body. And it's found that showering every day can actually lead to rashes, allergies, and eczema. And get this, even Dr. George Moncrief has not showered in 20 years with soap, because he said the ingredients that are used in soaps actually do more damage to our skin than help us. So some doctors say that showering once every 2 to 3 days is okay.
That's crazy. I'm one of those showerers that shower twice a day. One after I work out and one after my job. And I can't go to sleep without showering. Maybe there's something wrong, or maybe there's something right. But either way, it's fascinating that people don't shower every day, and people can go out, spend the night partying, doing whatever, and then coming home and falling asleep in the clothes that they wore outside. Not this guy. Do you shower every day? Let me know in the comments. Because this one, I'm really curious. All right. That's all I got for you today. These conspiracies actually kind of trip me out. Some of them I've heard before, some of them I haven't. Either way, I was genuinely perplexed with some of these, and I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, drop a like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff so we don't have to worry about it later, and send it to somebody who's interested in conspiracies. Maybe get their feedback on something. I don't know, but what I do know is I'm Nick, and you are you. And I would appreciate if you leave your social security number in the comments, and I will catch you in the next one.